All right. The science scene with Derek Topper. Give it up for Derek Topper, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks, Howie. So I have kind of two segments to talk about tonight because obviously you want me to talk about Deflategate. I can't imagine how you wouldn't, with your Patriots being so involved. But first, I'm going to talk about koalas. So there's these are koalas in Australia that are obviously plant-eating marsupials that are basically, they have pouches that allow them to raise their young in a pouch. However, these koalas have been having trouble because of the bushfires in Australia. So bushfires are frequent events that happen in the hotter months in Australia due to Australia's hot climate. And basically these fires impact all major areas in Australia. These recent ones have been taking 30 acres of Australia. They're almost like the fires in California that have been happening. So what's been happening is these fires have been causing major property damage and major loss of life. However, they've also been burning trees, and koalas tend to live in these trees. So a lot of these koalas are dying because of the trees catching fire and their habitats being ruined. So to escape the koalas, a lot of them have been having to run on these trees which are on fire, which is obviously terrible. And their paws tend to be how they use this. Their paws are especially adapted for gripping and climbing, and the paws, however, have been getting burnt because of the fires. So the koalas have been having to climb on these trees which are on fire, and these fires which have been mostly caused by have been increased by global warming. So basically what's been happening is the International Fund for Animal Welfare has been asking the public to help save the koalas and help rehabilitate them through creating mittens for their burnt paws. So obviously, since a lot of them die in these fires, and the lucky ones have terrible injuries to their paws, the IFAW, the International Fund for Animal Welfare, has been trying to ask people to send koala mittens to them. So basically what you have to do to help is you can go online and you can print out a koala mitten pattern, and all you need to do is basically, if you want, you can send you need to make cotton mittens. They're very easy to make. If you have a sewing machine, you just have to basically cut up a cotton rag or tea towel or something similar, and basically you can just basically send them the mittens for these koalas, which can help their treatment to basically help heal their burns. So obviously, and then to move on to the Deflategate, I can't imagine how he doesn't want me to talk about this. So obviously, Bill Belichick recently came out, obviously the whole thing with the balls being deflated for the Patriots, but Bill Belichick recently came out that he said that they were rubbed the football to basically make it warm because the game was so cold that it lost pressure. And Bill Nye, obviously the science guy, has said that what he was saying isn't really correct. But there's kind of conflicting reports, as some people are saying that it was good, that it was okay, and it wasn't. So obviously when you deflate the ball, it helps with catching the ball. But these balls were deflated by 2 psi, and 11 out of the 12 balls were underflated. And obviously a ball must be inflated up to about 12.5 psi, and these were only inflated to about 10 psi, meaning that they were only about 80% inflated. And the less pressure makes the ball obviously easier to squeeze, as you can see anytime you've ever felt a ball that's not deflated. And it also basically makes it easier to grip in rainy weather, like what the game was. So imagine holding a ball imagine holding a basketball with one palm. You can't do it if it's hard to squeeze because it's full of air. However, if there's less air, you can probably do it because you have more of a grip to get. It also makes the football easier to throw and catch, although it does slow down the ball, but it does increase the grip, so then there's kind of a trade-off. And then concurrently, in defense, the weight generally isn't affected by the air of the ball because obviously the air takes up less weight. It only takes up about 2% of the weight of the ball, and the pressure shouldn't actually affect it. And some scientists are saying the pressure could have affected it because the game was so cold. The cold could affect it, obviously lower temperatures. The air molecules in the ball move around slower, meaning that the ball could possibly just have done it naturally. So obviously there's a major scientific interest here because there's obviously interest in whether the deflation was by Belichick and the Patriots or if it happened naturally. Back to you, Howie.
Great job, Derek Topper. That was very fascinating. All right, our next